keep going. Those two words help me make millions of dollars a year for myself and for other people. It also helped me go from sleeping on the floor of an airport 10 years ago to investing in more than 200 startups. I want to talk to you about these two words today. And not just as a mindset shift, which it really is, ultimately, not just for inspiration or motivation, but as a business strategy. I used to have those words on my whiteboard at my house, and my house was also my office. So I had an apartment in West Hollywood a few years ago, and it was my office, my living room, it was everything. And I had this giant whiteboard with all of my information, my notes, my schedules. I would use it. But in permanent mark, permanent ink, I had the words keep going. And I would look at it every single day. It was a tough time. It was just a couple of years into or from being homeless and into raising a multi-million dollar fund, venture fund. You can Google me to see what that was about and what it is about. I still own it. And it was tough. It was tough. Although I had successes and things were going, they were moving, I'd raised money. It was an uphill battle. So I would coach myself. I would look up at the whiteboard and I would say, remember you said this and you said it in permanent ink. It's taking up space and it's there. It's permanent. You keep going. And today, 8, 9 years later, in the mirror, I said to myself, keep going. Now, I don't do this every day and I haven't done it in a long time. But when I said it to myself today, because I was making sure that I understood the assignment for this year, I thought, wow, that phrase has done so much for me in my life. And so I want to make sure I share it with everyone possible. So I hope that you start to use this mantra. It's extremely simple. You can put it on a whiteboard. You can put it on a piece of paper and tape it to your wall, put it on your desk, put it on the back of your phone as a sticker. You can do whatever you need to do to remind yourself of this. Some people will have it tattooed to keep going. Okay. And let me talk about the strategy part first. When you continue to do something for a long period of time, you inevitably get better at it. Usually you get better at it. Think about something you may have done for several years, and today you may even take it for granted that you can do it better than you did a few years ago. But you get better at it because you continue to work at it. You get repetition, that's reps. You get practice. You get to implement. You also get to learn signals and to get feedback. Even if it's not someone saying something, the feedback is the signal, right? Is the, oh, this didn't work, or I fell, or this didn't, it didn't work out. And when you do something, I talk about compounding interest all the time when it comes to this strategy. When you do something for a long period of time, you become better at it. It becomes easier for you, usually. You become stronger at it. So you have more leverage, meaning you don't have to do as much to get as much of an outcome. You also become known for it more and more in a lot of cases. So if we're talking about your business and we're talking about even a product, or we're talking about you just being the brand, you just being known for something, for one thing, if you keep going, chances are it will be a better situation every single year. Every month, you won't be able to see it. And that's the tough part because we kind of need that immediate gratification, that instant knowing. and believe in understanding, okay, this is okay. This is working. You know, we need someone sometimes to tell us you're doing the right thing. And if we don't have that, those signals or that feedback, then we are uncertain. And we don't like to be uncertain. So we may stop and we may start all over as something else. So now we're starting at the beginning, you know, the starting line. Now we have to start from scratch. And we have to build up the momentum that we just built with this other thing. And then we have to start over. So this is what I do all the time. Because even though I'm telling you this, you know, I'm not perfect. I always mess up in this, and you know, I get better and better. But there's so many things that if I had just stuck to it, it would have done really well. And thankfully, there are plenty of things that I have stuck to that have done really well. I mentioned my venture capital fund where I've invested. That's 12, 13, 14 years in, officially, or technically, and then officially maybe 10 years in. And it is a juggernaut, you know, when you think about what I've built when it comes to my audience, when it comes to people knowing what I do. And if you're just seeing me for the first time, you'll see in these, I don't know how many hundreds of videos, you'll see what I do. So I have thousands and thousands of students on school. And then when it comes to, you can even use YouTube as an example. I've been on YouTube for 2 decades almost, different channels, but it was only 2 years ago or so that I started taking it very seriously. And when I started taking it seriously, when I made that decision, I'm going to take this seriously. I have not missed one day of working on my YouTube channel. Not one day have I missed, even through sickness, even through travel, even through chilling. I was on a cruise a couple weeks ago, worked on my YouTube channel all 4 days. And that's not to say that you have to do, you know, be as aggressive with your schedule as I am, because I'm pretty productive, I have to say. But it's not measured. I'm not judging you. You know, you're not going to be measured by, oh, you worked on it every single day. But what I could have done, like I have done with other things, is I could have done this all in for like 3 months and then given up, especially 2 years ago when I did not have the signals that it was working. When people were not watching my videos, people were not telling me, oh, this is going to be a big thing. But I locked in and I saw something and I said, you know, with YouTube, it's really a game of patience and consistency. Because if I can release a video every, you know, multiple times a month for a year, what is true is that at the end of that year, I will have an archive. I will have an asset or several assets in those videos. And that is going to be worth something. I don't know exactly what that will mean. And I don't know if there will ever be a break point, but it will be something. That's what I thought 2 years ago. And wouldn't you know it, 6 or 7 months in, past the 3 month mark of, I don't know what this is, all of a sudden, there is a break. There's a breakthrough. And there were days in July, August 2024 that I had 1,000 subscribers or more each day. There were days where I had 10, 20,000 new people seeing me for the first time that day. Now today, probably 3 or 4,000 people watch me every day, meaning like individual people, and then they watch several other videos. I think it's that, maybe more. I have to look it up. But I wouldn't have achieved that breakthrough if I hadn't just kept at it. And I wouldn't have kept at it if I wasn't planning for it, you know? Because if left to our own devices, we probably will just sort of, you know, find the other shiny object or go to the thing we think is actually going to be the breakthrough for us and make us the money that we need right now, etc. But there needs to be something for you that you set out and have a plan and say, this is something I'm going to do no matter what signals I receive, no matter if it makes sense, no matter if it feels like it's going to be valuable, I need to lock in on something. And if you need something, if you don't know what that could be, you can make it your first 5K. My club in on school, it is free. So all of 2026, I am going to be releasing more curriculum, almost like it's a university for business, for beginners to intermediate to advanced. And there's a lot of structure in there. There's a classroom, there are live events, I mean, live, sessions that happen on the calendar. It's structured. And if you say, hey, I think I'm going to spend a certain amount of time in there every day, or every week, at least once I'm hitting up the classroom, then you can actually start to make that like a check mark thing. Did I visit it this week yet? You could do this for something else. You could do this for YouTube, like I just described. You could do this for your brand building. You could do it for like, I'm going to learn something new every week, or I'm going to learn something, one thing, and a new thing about that every week, or more about it. But it's this fortitude that you have to have for yourself, because I can give you some of it, and please borrow some of my confidence. Take it with you. Um, but ultimately, it has to come from within, because no one is coming to save any of us. And it's actually quite comforting, in my opinion, like in my experience, it's been quite comforting in knowing, oh, actually, I can pull from a well of of courage and confidence when I need to, even though my circumstances didn't always look like I had that well. Even though it didn't my bank account didn't match my ambition. If you want your bank account to match your ambition, I don't even know if that's ever going to happen, by the way. Because let me tell you this, and you know this from getting anything, right? You make $1,000, you want 10,000. You make 10,000, you probably want 100,000. You make 100,000, you probably want 1,000,000. So your ambition is always going to be ahead of your bank account. I guess that's why it's called ambition, right? But if you feel like your potential, your skill, how much you care for the world and other people, your impact you want to make, all of those things are stunted, have not caught up. Like they do not match. Your bank account has not caught up to that. Then one thing you could think about is just being locked in. All of this is to say, is there something you could do for a year without needing it to work and be an explosive success? Is there something you could do for a year and see what happens after that? Again, if you don't have an idea, YouTube is a great idea. YouTube for a year, most people never, ever, ever dare do that. But I did it for a year, starting from scratch. And before you say, well, you have a large audience, listen, I had like 3,000 subscribers when I started 2 years ago. And although I did have a lot of an audience elsewhere, like Instagram and Twitter and all these different places, when you look at, I've done surveys, I've looked at stats. More than 80% of the people who subscribe to my channel in the last 2 years found me on YouTube. They did not know me before that. So that is the point. So don't let limiting beliefs about what is possible for you, or, don't let that stop you from the good part. I see it happen every single day, and I'm not exaggerating. Every single day I get at least one or two or 10 comments across some of my platforms, and it says something like, well, I don't have an audience, so I can't do that. I have to reiterate to you that everybody didn't have an audience at first. Put the word gem, GEM, in the comments right now if you just heard that part and it struck you. It turned a light on for you. Everybody had no audience to begin with. Everybody was where you are. Except, of course, there's some people who were born with more money. There's some people who were born with more certain abilities or whatever. But you probably are where other people envy and you don't even realize it. So don't let that be an excuse. I don't have an audience, so therefore I cannot have an audience. That is just, it's insanity. It is just missing the point completely. You can have an audience. You can build one. I don't have any money, so I can't make any money. Yes, you can. You can build on your money. I don't have any skill. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do AI. I'm not technical. Well, every human being on earth who is now technical at one point was not technical. Am I just blowing away all of these limiting beliefs for you? I hope so. I hope I am. So therefore, you lean into something that you have interest in. If you lean into something you have an interest in, then you'll get to learn it over time. And that interest plus the learning and the curriculum will combine to give you skill. I can't give you talent, but I can give you skill. I can give you skill because you just lock in for a certain amount of time and you learn something. And then before you know it, a year from now, you're able to do it and charge for it. And you're like, wow, well, look at that. I could have spent the next 10 years saying how much I couldn't do it, or I could just get to doing it. Right? That's what I see for you. That's what I see for us. I've spent the last 8 months just going ham on Lovable and AI agents. And when they did the Lovable 2025 end of year wrap, I got my little notice and it said that I was in the top 1% of people who use Lovable and that I use it so much. And that it's my Lovable pages have been visited 130,000 times from the things that I created. And I create a lot of things, some internal, some external. So if you've seen in my products like Lovable OS or Stan OS or YouTube OS, if you've seen some of my pages that are for bonuses or things that are like landing pages, I did that on Lovable for the most part. And if you had asked me March 2025, hey, do you know, can you go ahead and sell this AI agent and then go ahead and whip up a website for me? I would have been like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what an AI agent is. And I certainly can't whip up a website because I pay people to whip up a website. And it takes like months to complete or weeks. But I also would have said to you, because I'm me, I would have also said, but it sounds interesting. Let me go ahead and watch this 2-hour interview that tells me about it, which I did in April of 2025. Watch that, intrigued as hell, and I'm like, okay, let me see if they say it's easy. Let me see how simple this is. So I get into it. I work with it. I mess up. I do this. I invest in credits, $20. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna invest in this even if it doesn't work. And wouldn't you know it, eventually after a few hours, I have my first project. Now it's like going to school and you're a child and you come home with your crayon drawing and it's not very good at all, but you're proud of it and your parents are proud of it, right? The teacher's proud. So you got to be your own teacher and parent. And you go into this AI agent and what that is, that's another video, but it's essentially you tell it what to do, you tell it what you want to happen on your screen, and it does it for you. Just like a chat GPT, but with more complexity. And I wouldn't have been now 8 months later top 1% in the whole country if I hadn't have had the curiosity and then the intrigue, and then said, you know what, let me play with it. Let me try. What's the worst that could happen in that situation? I lose 20 bucks. I waste some time. I just don't see the downside to taking the next step, trying, putting yourself in the room. I just don't see the downside of it because you keep going. And same thing happens. I did that with school, and I did that with Stan, and I did that with all these different places, and I'm top 1% in all of them. Literally. Like I win all of their awards because I just do. It's not that I have some special superpower or have a big team. I have nobody's doing this with me, this part, right? It's just that I have interest. I find what I'm interested in. If I'm not interested in, I'm not gonna try to pursue it because it will be fake. Oh, that'll make me money. I don't care. Like I want to be interested every day. So I find something that intrigues me. I have a hypothesis of, I think this will work. Like I think I can learn this, and I test it to see if I can. And I stick to it. And I look for signals that tell me I didn't make any money when I first tried Lovable or an AI age. I didn't make any money. I was just trying stuff. I was just sticking with it. I kept going. Now, that's strategy. And on the mindset side of things, if you lock in, let me tell you something that happens. And I mentioned this earlier where I said you get better. But here's the thing that the thing that people don't talk about as much, but is happening. It's what millionaires don't tell you. It's what very successful people talk about amongst themselves, but they do not talk about it as freely. And that is the power of being known for something. Not the power of being known, not being famous, not being an influencer, none of that, not a celebrity. That has nothing to do with it. It's the power of being known for something. That is branding. And if that something can be positive and helpful to other people, then you will never have to worry about money again if you can lock in. It is, again, I have to do the disclaimer for YouTube. I'm not guaranteeing anybody any money here, okay? It's the work you put into it or any amount. But I'm telling you, that is the North Star. What do I want to be known for in a year, in 2, in 5, in 10 years? What do I want to be known for? And then you walk towards that. There's a lot of on the ground stuff that you got to figure out, but that North Star is, it's like everything. It's the essence of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So you have to keep going. If it hurts, if it's painful, if it does not serve you well, that's your signal to stop. That's not the right thing. But if you're doing something and it's kind of working for you, don't do the thing that most people do, which is just stop it and start something else and say, well, it worked over there, it'll work over here. Don't do that to yourself. Keep going with it. Keep going.